And we're live. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Welcome to another edition of a chainEDGE workshop with your host On-Chain Wizard. I thought I'd mix it up a little bit today and go through some quick case studies of what the smart money holding and swap data looked like for some of the more recent $1 million plus winners. Good morning, Amir. The results are quite interesting. And obviously it's imperfect, right? Because you have wallets that can transfer things around. You're dealing with changes in the composition of the smart money wallets, which, are going from snipers in the beginning to the late movers that we call them, but they're still generating their profit in the first day. And then your gem spotters is everyone else. So we can start with Joe. And one thing, so we're looking at 3 tokens here, which is Joe, Grok, and Real Smurf Cat. Each one, basically in the first either day, 2 days, or in this case, 5 or 6 days, had 10 plus wallets holding 6 figures. So for Joe, it was a little bit of a slower mover in terms of smart money getting really interested in it. It hit the wallet threshold of 12 on the 17th. And that was actually, while that was happening, you saw kind of an abnormal increase or change in accumulation patterns of smart money, where they basically 3 to 4x the amount of Joe that we're holding. And obviously you could have used, you'll see tools all the time say, oh, we caught Joe day one. And it's like most of those tools just ape every single token, and then they just hope one of them runs like Joe, right? But if you wanted to actually trade this like a person that doesn't want to ape every single shitcoin, you could have just came in and, if we presented this data better, which obviously we haven't, but we're going to, and that's why we're doing this process. Is one, this is me just doing this from, by eye and by hand. My team of developers is building more AI and machine learning models around all this data to actually give you guys better signals, and we can set up dashboards and alerts to get you there. But I thought I'd share this anyway as a teaser of what's coming. So again, you saw this ginormous accumulation pattern where you can even see the very typical in the Joe Smart Money Holdings top left blue line. You can see everyone buys it day one. It hits all the scanners. On the chart there, it doesn't even look like the price is moving, right? Boring. You see the snipers dump. Smart Money Holdings even cut 50% in terms of quantity of tokens. And then you see a very clear 3 to 4x accumulation pattern. And so for this one, to me, that's a pretty clear signal that this one might be pretty good. The other thing you'll notice in all of these examples is there's a accumulation or boredom period where it seems like nothing's happening. Like the price is rising a little bit, and by a little bit, I mean these are shit coins, right? So maybe it like doubled. What you'll see, and you can see it here, basically from that accumulation point into October 17th. If you look at either the top, which looks at it from a holdings perspective, or the bottom, which looks at it from a cumulative swaps perspective, which is just the swapping quantities of tokens, there's a boredom period before things really got interesting of, a week to 10 days, right? Where the price doesn't move very much. You see spikes in holdings, but it's generally increasing. With the swaps, you can actually see them going up, but it's basically, this is like the accumulation before it pops. And then after, the 24th to 25th, it starts to pop, and from there it 6x's. So, you kind of have the signals there, and this is one case study of what it looked like, where you could have come in later, and, if we would have presented this data in this way, you could have said, hey, this looks pretty good. It fits, all of these criteria. it was a 6x into, we're not using the absolute peak that you never would have sold at. So yeah, pretty interesting. Also on the holdings, this one was kind of different than the other two, where there was a very clear, get me out, or they either transferred out right when the price hit its peak. Which again, as we build this out, we could use that as a signal to say, top signal, like you should sell, right? Let's see. Gem Spotters also started buying on 1017, so we looked at the composition of our three different primary wallet labels, and I don't know, pretty interesting, right? So what did I have in here? Yeah, basically a 7x return once you saw a 3x increase in smart money and kind of a rising price. Okay, now we'll do Grok. So Grok was a lot faster. And so you had a lot more snipers, and you can see how quickly they dumped, and they probably regret it. You can't see it in the top chart because it probably happened so fast that the holdings data, which I think is running daily here, didn't even pick it up. But you can quickly see in the bottom left, right, there was 1 billion tokens bought day one, and just on a little price increase, it got cut 70%. And from a swap perspective, it was basically straight down the whole time. From a holdings perspective, largely similar, but again, you kind of saw just like, I think like the biggest takeaway doing this by hand is if you're looking at any of these smart money, like holdings data things, there's always just like an indifference price. Like they're not buying more, they're not selling, and at least in these three examples, that will served as like a coiling moment, right? The spring is coiling. So in this one, smart money holdings really didn't change much from basically the whole time, right? Like it peaked at a little over 250 million tokens, and even today it's like 200 million, so not much of a change. But in the entire run up, and that's the other takeaway, is there's a lag in all three examples, right? And Real Smurfcat was an even longer lag, but there is a lag. So, right, you see smart money buying X. It doesn't mean the token's just going to pump. But if they sit there in their position, they're going to play the game for some amount of time. In these first two examples, it only took 10 days. And obviously it was into, there was a lot of excitement around on-chain tokens on 1031. I think that's when both Real Smurfcat and Joe peaked. But nevertheless, the peak of the token lags the actual smart money. So we saw the same thing in Grok, kinda, but again, they were kind of indifferent the whole time. And even looking at the smart money data today, they're kind of indifferent, no changes, which is usually pretty bullish. Versus you kind of saw. Versus Joe was an interesting example, has actually had a lot more accumulation, which, again, I don't have all the data, but if you assume that all the smart money is actually smart and everything is perfect, that would be a bullish indicator. Versus this is kind of, I don't know, because it already had its pretty big run up to whatever it was, 100 million market cap. But same thing here, basically on the first day, 12 wallets holding over 1,000. All of the smart wallets tagged by us had 400K in total. So that's me doing this by hand in Excel. And we've got, a lot better stuff cooking. But, it's the same signal, right, that I saw in Joe's, like 12 wallets, 6 figures. Buy button, pretty good. This one, 12 wallets, 6 figures, buy button, it was 12x into the peak. And it took whatever. There was roughly 10 days of nothingness which is easier to see in the bottom chart, right? Where there's, in terms of cumulative swap quantities, the price didn't really do anything for, it was obviously rising, but nothing crazy for like a week. And the cumulative swap quantities didn't really change much over that week. And as price was rising through that, then, it went kind of crazy. But again, same lagging thing, and this one even shows the lag in more detail. And the price rise was much more dramatic. So again, same signal. 16 wallets holding over 1,000, 267K in total on September 14th. Just from there, I think it was a 10x to the all-time high price. And obviously, if you would have just sold on the initial pump into the 17th, I think you would have done pretty well. Maybe like a 3x, 4x. But again, same thing here. You can kind of see, and this is when the market got really slow right in October, so you could see some smart money lose interest. And so this is a kind of interesting one where the balances decline quite considerably. But again, you can see the boredom period, right? From, call it October 5th to October 24th. The price didn't change, smart money holdings didn't change. It's an accumulation pattern, and then just boom, takes off, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, I had in here 20 days of sideways holdings, 50%, smart money holdings drop in terms of quantity, and then it still took off, right? So that's like another almost counterpoint to keep in mind. But yeah, I don't know. I thought these were interesting, and I share it not to, you can draw whatever conclusions from this that you want. But what's cool is we are building, machine learning models around all of our data and with these tokens, and we were breaking it down in terms of explainability, and then we can dish signals to you based on that explainability, which will hopefully, turn into either better alerts, better signals, or better dashboards that say, hey, a lot of the things that explain the price increase in all of the tokens that went way up are happening in these 3 tokens, which, is better than anything else out there, and it doesn't require you to, be online 24/7 or using some bot that just, ape shit coins as soon as they launch every single one. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty interesting to look through these, especially on the lagging factor. But open to any questions or comments or ways we can display this better in the site. Obviously, this holdings data kind of charts, we're doing a lot of different variations of this that will come into the token page soon enough. But I thought this was a fun way to mix it up and look kind of backwards at some of these real runners that, the chainEDGE smart money wallets have made $1 million, $1.3 million on each of these. Nothing? All right. So, hopefully, is it still showing my PowerPoint? I don't want to be showing that anymore. Okay. What else? Let's try to make you guys some money. So, I've been trying to cook up, I've talked about some of the new launch alerts that I was using before, and frankly, they kind of ended up being full of garbage. And so I cooked up a new one, better new launches. And I need to pull up my parameters here. I did 200K P&L, 33% win rate, 5 wallets of 300 min on just the first 2 hours of trading. And this has actually been pretty good. So if I look at all of my better new launches, I don't know how that one's done, but it definitely, it popped up on IQT at whatever that is, 439 million FDV, which I don't know what it's at now, but I think it's a lot higher or just some amount higher. Yeah, I mean, that's more than a 2x, almost it's about a 3x really. This has been one of the best new launch ones that I've been able to cook up. And I think specifically the combination of having this higher, the wallet count higher, and the minimum swaps at about 300. I use that mostly on my gut, but another thing we can do is, as part of our explainability kind of data analysis experiments that we're doing, I think what we'll be able to do is actually tell you which combination of these alerts will give you kind of the best possible tokens at different time frames. There's a question in here. Have you noticed anything more different using this method with more fundamental projects? So for fundamental projects, it's not as I'm pretty sure this is a fundamental project. It's all about your funnel, right? And if you're finding the idea through our site, whether it's through an alert or another way I go and try to find new fundamental projects, is I just go to the new launch digest and I sort by retention. And you can usually just by reading it, which ones are bullshit memes and which ones are at least sound like a real project, and then you can go and diligence it. So for things like that, it's not about getting the signal I have to buy now. Like, you can just build a database of hey, that looks like an actual project. Oh, this looks interesting. But I mean, there's tons of fundamental projects that our wallets have bought. I mean, we've been talking about OLAS for a long time. PAAL has shown up a lot. And you can even in the site, you can see the rotation. You've been able to see it for 4 or 5 days now, rotating out of memes and into more fundamental projects. So it is helpful. It's not just for meme coins. It worked for meme coins because our wallets are only the highest P&L possible, and for almost all of this year, meme coins was where that was happening. And obviously that's not really working anymore. So back to my better new launches. So IQT has almost a 3x. Grok AI, this one was like a 2x at one point. But I don't think it's so good anymore. But still, you would have made money. This one, last I checked, did pretty well. I think they're trying to ride off of the pet friends or whatever it's called. Yeah, this one was doing fine. Now it's down 50%, but I think at its peak, this one was like double or triple. But again, none of these were flat out rugs. Yeah, I mean, there was a time this one was 400K. Not great. There's another, not ape. This one, last I checked, was like 700K market cap. And I mean, I just set this one up too. And once things are just getting slaughtered today anyway. This one was like 500 or 600K too. So I don't know, pretty interesting. And again, still no rugs, but this one was very good though. I think I faded this one. This was my very first alert that came through on this new filter, the Tau Inu. I think this one ran really hard. Yeah, 500K now, which is almost a 2x, but I think at its peak, yeah, it was like a million. It's like a 3x. So I wanted to share that one because some people asked in the Discord group. And if you guys haven't found out in the bot, you can, on any of these tokens, you can just click get token info. You can also do, let's see, daily research, which will give you our daily summary of all the smart money movements. So if you're on the go, you're not going to be logging into the site. You need some, you're bored. You want to know what's been going on, what new launches got some attention, any fundamental projects that I saw in our data. It was in here. For people that watch this every day, we shared Mubi quite early. Absolutely crushed it. You literally had to do no work. And, we mentioned how it kind of had an anomalous amount of smart money buying and retention, which is always pretty good. You can also run daily summary and get the 24-hour in and out flows. Those don't look right now. But maybe. And you'll be able to do a lot of other cooler stuff like this. Especially on the token page, you'll be able to, it'll have a lot more smart money data, but it does, every time you run it, give you kind of the last couple of transactions so you can at least get a sense of what's going on. But yeah, so that's everything new. Link for the Discord, it's in your email. There's like a welcome to chainEDGE. It has like a link to the GitHub, the Discord. What else? Any other questions? But yeah, I've found myself just filtering by 1 day held instead of buy amount, because sometimes these high buy amounts just don't, it just gets like sniped to death, or just, there's almost too much interest on it and it just doesn't work. Like this one had a bunch of buys and it's been quite shitty. This one's obviously had a lot of buys and been quite good. But for like, you can't see like FarmBot, that doubled. So for any of you daily research enjoyers, FarmBot doubled since I wrote it up 12 hours ago. Which I found by literally filtering by 1 day held, because people are gonna hold projects that aren't a bonk derivative longer. And you can usually look at these, and obviously ones that look like this are just rugs, right? Because it's probably not 100%. Yeah, I usually go through and you can just look at the names and see, oh, is that a real project? Like, does it sound like something that's not like low effort, something stupid? Even Clippy AI is like borderline. Like it's literally, it's like a kind of a meme on the old Clippy from Microsoft Word. But I think that one's actually done well. I don't know anything about instability or quantum. And then mostly garbage, but like that's the process where I found FarmBot, right? And I mean, some of these more fundamental projects, like if they have anything, like if you can do the diligence and figure out if it's really not low effort, the valuation floor for things like that is usually higher than this like 100, 200K market cap. And so it's kind of an easy fishing ground if you're just, if you're just trying to go make like, you're not going to hit like a 100x and you're not going to share your P&L, but could you pick up in half an ETH on doubling FarmBot? Like probably, like you'll take it, and you'd also pay, it would pay for your year of chainEDGE. Will there be a Black Friday sale for chainEDGE? Nope. Prices are going up in 30 days. We are $500 a year cheaper than anything close to a competitor. So it's your best bet on a sale is booking it now, because around Christmas, all new subscribers past that point will pay more, because comparable products are anywhere from 100 to 150 bucks a month. So at 60, it's 40% off. Can you go through the part of chainEDGE where you see the swaps? To me, it isn't clear how to read that. So which part? Like the alpha stream? I mean, the alpha stream is just a live feed of swaps. Then to get the most out of it, you can just start running token age filters, some P&L filters, and a min buy value, and to filter out all the garbage. Yeah, a lot of buys on whatever this thing is, though mostly snipers, which we categorize as they make all their P&L in the first 20 minutes of token age. Yeah, I mean, you're just I mean, what you're trying to do with the alpha stream is you're seeing, well, one, you can manipulate it however you want. For buy token, sell token, minimum transaction value here. You can manipulate it by token age, but you're just looking for any sort of signal, right? So obviously there's something going on with this token. I don't know if it's going to be any good, because there's been a lot of buys. I mean, the power of the alerts is, I got an alert on this thing, it would have tripped like right here. So an hour and 10 minutes ago. And I think we're actually going to eventually have a feed of your alerts for the DJs that are in front of the site or by their computer 24/7, like a feed of the signals just in the site, so you can act on them quicker, so you don't need to go back and forth from Telegram. Like the Telegram features for now are more if you're not in front of your computer, but I feel like it would be awesome if, does it mean they are buying the token with one? This is buys, this is sells. So, I mean, usually when you run the custom filters, it will only give you buys anyway. But I mean, they're just buying this one. Usually this is just going to be ETH for 80% of the pairs that smart money trades with. And like sometimes I think about getting rid of this column, but if you want to see like rotations, because sometimes you will see them, like it'll be like Pepe to Joe, Pepe to Joe, Pepe to Joe, and you can see the rotation like actually happening. So it's kind of useful. Also, when you're looking at a token like this, I mean, obviously you can go to the token page, or you can clear your filters and put this in the sell, see what the sell side activity looks like. But yeah, I mean, all they're doing is just taking ETH and buying, instability. Oh, it's an Elon tweet. That's why you see mostly snipers in here. So it sure doesn't seem like probably isn't going to be any good, but who knows? I mean, so far, if you think about Elon tweet plays this year, like what were the two good ones? It's things that like are actual businesses that Elon runs, right? Like X was very good, right? And that was when he renamed Twitter to X, and X made a lot of money. And I think I hit a really good trade on that one from copy trading one of these guys. Every other one's been shitty except for Grok, and then Grok, is also fundamental. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's cheap, but I mean, unless he's saying he's going to rename Grok to this, then it'd be a home run, and I'd go buy like 3 ETH worth. But on Deck Screener, what filters or metrics can we use along with chainEDGE to find? I would go, if you're already a sub, go in the Discord and ask that question, because there's people smarter than me that kind of have a system for those things. What I do is, you can tell it was a rebate Dopex Maxi. I usually go to ETH and run a filter for some amount of liquidity that's not total garbage. Like a minimum FDV, and then a max pair age of, I usually do like 7 days, and then I look at, and then I do something for transactions to just remove like kind of garbage. But if you look at all of the tokens that are getting volume, anyone that you haven't heard shilled that often is usually worth researching to some effect, because all of the popular tokens will end up in here. But again, I'm not a DEX screener expert in relation to our site. I usually get most of the signals just straight from chainEDGE. Min buy value per transaction. So wait, which, you're setting this to 1 or this to 1? Because they're two separate things. Right, because this is basically taking buy minus sell. So if it's like a newer token, it can be an absolute runner and still the dollars sold could be higher than dollars bought. So if you make this 5,000, we see new launches where it's negative, because all of the early buyers bought so early that they're sitting on a lot of gains. So the actual net dollars out is higher. So I don't tend to use this, other than, I don't use this filter, and maybe I should, but I don't really use this filter when I'm playing around with token ages and P&L and hit rate. I actually use it for just like blanket alerts of, I'll just put 10K in there, and then I'm getting notified whenever there's a $10,000 change in swaps. But I still don't understand your question about your default always goes to 1. But if you're you can shoot a note in the Discord and tag me, and we'll figure it out. What else? So again, what we're going to be doing with not only the token page, but we'll start with the token page, is bring in some of the, do you have a top token holders list for a token like Nansen does? We don't tag every wallet in the world. It's quite easy to get it without going to Nansen and spending, a couple $1,000. You can just click the token and go to holders. You can see it. Just boom. There they are. We could put that in the site. We try to focus on things that aren't, things you could just go and do yourself. But if we had enough people that want us to build this in the site, I guess we could. We have, our top holders. It's under construction right now, but you can see like if you go into the portfolio summary, you can see, what are the most popular tokens with our 700 or so smart wallets. Which Banana has been by wallets, one of the highest for some time now. And I've been talking about it, and it went from whatever, I think it bottomed at 5 and went to 15. Just decent. Oh, but anyway, so what we're going to be doing, well, one, we're going to be reworking this page so you can more easily see anomalies as they happen, because this data is obviously, at any given point in time, but you don't have historical context, so you don't know, unless you're watching this really closely, what movements in here are kind of interesting. I'll flag most of them that I find in the daily research, like Vault making it in here, the Las Creso movie, but that will be improved, and then the whole token page is going to be reworked to have a lot more, data right away about, trends in the smart money movement, and obviously, soon enough you'll be able to buy and sell any of these tokens right in the site, which will be nice for speed on some of these. And also, who doesn't, if you've still been using Uniswap, it's the absolute worst. Another newer thing, if you guys haven't seen it, you can go down here, you can see the swap summary, current smart holders, and their changes in balances, which is kind of like what you're talking about, SB, but we only do it for our wallets because that's, the only reason people are going to pay us money, right, is this is a proprietary list of wallets based on realized P&L over the last 6 months. Nothing is done by hand. There's no emotion involved. We've kicked out lots of wallets that are very popular on crypto Twitter because their realized P&L went to shit. The insights page. So I think we could do that on the token page. I think we'll put that right up in here when we redesign this. I don't know, having that on the home page makes a lot of sense, because you're going to have a lot of links. What else is cool? Oh, another way to find like low cap gems or just like real projects that could be interesting is if you just filter this for like just what is getting some buy flow, because some of these things that get low buy flow doesn't necessarily mean it's garbage. It's just like there hasn't been enough attention on it. Like a really good example was, I covered it maybe 6 weeks back, was Vegas bot, and I don't know how it's done since I talked about it, but I flagged it once when it came up in here, and I looked at it, I was like, oh, they have like a fully built product. It was like 100K market cap, and that ran to 2 million pretty quickly. But yeah, especially because the market is, the market currently definitely rewards kind of fundamental projects. Like I do not think it's very, like I haven't been aping a lot of new meme coins. No interest in aping another Elon tweet coin unless he's renaming Grok or buying Doge before the Doge to the moon thing in January. Got it. Yeah, but so we will put we're we're kind of redesigning some parts of this because, and I think Tommy in the Discord brought this up. Like we just keep shipping things, and a lot of them just accumulate on the homepage because we haven't, we prioritize just shipping new stuff, and we, haven't optimized for, what's best. Like I think what's going to come down here instead of the new launch digest is just like the top, call it 8 best performing tokens, and you can toggle time frames to see like which tokens are actually hot. And then this will maybe exist in a separate tab where you can actually go longer than 1 day, because we have seen longer term retention be a pretty good indicator of, smart money saying, I'm not selling this token, it's going much higher. Joe was definitely an example of that. But yeah, I get your point on needing links to the website and Twitter, which we will put in the token page, along with a bunch of other. We're completely reworking the token page. It's a point of frustration for me because we're trying to get this page to like maximum actionability as soon as you get to it. And we're getting closer, and I mean the holdup for us is just making sure our holdings data is clean and working well, especially on newer tokens where it gets a bit messy. What chains does chainEDGE support? Any chain, EVM chain that has more than $100 million of DEX volume. So that would be, let's see if they're all on here. ETH, BSCR, Polygon, AVAX, OP, Phantom, and Base is in here too. Base. We added Base. People were really excited about us adding Base, and we got it in here. You can actually search these by chain too. If you want, you can see there's just not really much going on Base. Friend pet. Yeah, see, that's almost a month of data. Like, not really much going on. But as if any chain, and we can't. Solana is a little bit harder. But yeah, we cover all the major chains. So, usually it's only Arbitrum is the other place where any actual activity even happens. But yeah, you can even filter the data by chain, both in the alpha stream and in the swap summary. And in the swap summary, you can even see the chains. So like another quick and easy way to just kind of see what's getting a bid. You can scrub out ETH stables and staked ETH derivatives, and just start looking through these. 7 days. Grail's usually in there. Link, boring. You can click ARB and see. Yeah, that's what I would have guessed. EMP. Genomes. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, not too much. I'd love to get a yearly if there's a good discount. Just a little bit of discount, right? Because it's $600 instead of $720. If my math is right, which I think it is. And obviously a yearly today is cheaper than a yearly in 30 days when it will be $700. Gosh, nothing on rebate Dopex. Hate to see it. Huh. Kind of surprising. What else? We're also gonna be um, so the alerts as they stand, basically, um, I want to change kind of like the alerts architecture a little bit because they're pretty good for getting a signal, when a token launches, because you'll see all the early flows, but you're not getting alerts on what if all of the wallets that triggered my alert sold. You're not getting alert on that. What if it's a little bit more established token, and let's say you want to be notified when the price drops 40% and then there's a bunch of buyers stepping in. We don't have an alert for that. So I think, and I don't know how long it'll take us to do some of these, but that's another thing we're going to be pushing forward, because right now it's good enough for getting early signals, and I know there are people that are making money on those signals. I actually think in the last stream someone turned $500 into, it was like 12 grand or something, which is pretty good. When are prices going up? What's price going to be? They're going up 30 days or so. It's just going up $10 a month. So from $60 to 70, and then obviously quarterly has a smaller discount, and then annual will be going to 700. Which is still, if you take a longer term view of where the pricing will be in 7 months, it's going to be, more like 80 or 90. So for all of the people that keep asking for Black Friday sales, you're looking at it. We never increase prices for current people, because I appreciate anyone that is stuck. They stuck with us as we built this out and keep shipping features, and fixing bugs. But yeah, the price will be going up, especially with kind of where it sits today. It's a lot more customizable than most things out there, and in 30 days it will be a real one-stop trading terminal machine. Ugh, BRC20s. What's the volume over there? Can I even check that on Deck Screener? If there's like a true need and demand for that, we can do it. Usually these things are kind of short-lived, so we don't try to chase it. Like, we added base, then like 2 weeks of base getting really popular, and now nothing happens on base. So we could do it, but if it's not like a major chain with tons of DEX volume, there's just not going to be that much interest for it. Like, I had someone in the Discord the other day ask for, could we support Linea? It's like 11 million of volume. It's like, it's not really worth it. Like, we have so many other things we can build, and like implementing a whole other chain that no one's really using. It's not really worth it for us. What else? Yeah, it's up 40x on like what liquidity and market cap. How far back does Kinetic Capital's 22 million of render? I mean, if Kinetic Capital doesn't have at least 50K of realized P&L and no one hit wonders, they're not smart to us. I saw so many funds get absolutely destroyed um, last year and even in parts of 21. And I built our smart engine based on people I know and can verify are making money. Just because someone's a fund, I saw funds absolutely get rinsed on Unibot and were buying at 150 and then it went to 50. I don't think just because they get paid to run money makes them smart. I've seen, I've been in the hedge fund business. I've seen people run hedge funds that weren't smart and they're not smart money. So unless they have actual high realized P&L, they're not coming in here. Because again, the bigger the token gets, the less any of this stuff matters, right? Oh, smart money bought ETH. Yeah, I mean, there's some people that are really good at trading ETH, and you can follow them, but like, for those of us that want asymmetric gains, I don't care, and it's hard to say how a smart money signal is telling me to buy ETH when ETH is a stable coin anyway. Stamp is 10 million. Like, what's the liquidity though? I mean, because like market cap doesn't necessarily matter. Like, Grok went to 100 million, and like the total realized P&L for that thing is not going to be that high because the liquidity was so low. Like, you can actually see it in some of our leaderboard data. Like, there's tokens that never got anywhere close to what Grok did, like Coco. They made the same amount of P&L on Coco as they did Grok, or they made more on Hay. Because having the liquidity for you to actually both buy enough to get your P&L high and sell enough to keep your P&L high, is a major factor. Is his exit when they start selling so they don't keep dumping on us? Yeah, I don't know. I don't focus. Usually if there's funds involved with a token, unless we get to 2021 easy mode, I usually don't want to be around it because most funds aren't that original. They're not that early. I don't know. And they're not dumping on us. Like, if there's a fund dumping on you, it's probably some VC that's in the locked capital stack of token and they're just selling their unlocks on you. There's really not that many funds that are actually trading like DEX only tokens today, right? Like, if you see a fund trading, like they're like Render, right? Like, Render's not even really a DEX, that's a sex token, right? Like Render's on-chain liquidity is quite garbage if I remember. Yeah, 2 million. Like, I think Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, Inu, 10 has more. Look at that, 4.3, twice as much. So yeah, I mean, if that's another thing, like, we have some people that sign up, they're like, oh, I was looking for smart money signals on like Binance coins. It's like, there are guys on Twitter that are awesome at trading Binance coins. Go follow them. We are not gonna help. Will it work for Solana in the future? Maybe. It is a massive undertaking to get the same level, quality, and structure of data over there, because it's just completely different. So we'll see. I mean, if Solana shit coin season really does have legs, we probably
will at least attempt to, but it's a nightmare. It's not like if there's another EVM chain that gets a bunch of activity, that would be so much better because it's quite easy to do. But I mean, we've already started investigating it because we've had quite a few people ask, and there's been a lot more activity over in the fake tech land of Solana. What else? Anything? As always, we're open to cutting this data and building dashboards for anything. We haven't gotten as many requests like that. No, the next bull run will not be the last one. If you subscribe to the thesis that anyone under a certain age, at least in the US, is kind of behind the eight ball, they're broke, they can't afford a house, they'd have to make quite a bit of money. I think the US, you need to make like $130K to afford the average house. They're desperate and they will gamble, and crypto is one way people can gamble. It's also a lot more fun and a little bit more in your control than just gambling on sports or blackjack or slots or anything stupid like that. So I really don't think I mean, who knows, maybe the next one won't be as big as 2021, right? Because you kind of had a perfect storm of, there's helicopter money going down. I knew people that were making more in unemployment in the US than they were at their jobs. Interest rates were zero, everything was going nuts. But I mean, I don't know why there only has to be one more bull run. Right? I think some of that actually comes from there's people that have been around in the space and they've been through a couple of them and have done well, and they just think that, well, how many more times can this happen? But we'll see. BRC market cap is 3.1, growing at 21 million over the last 24 hours. Yeah, that's the same size as Linea, which I don't know, never heard anyone use that. Like, even if they 10x that volume, it would still be smaller than like Avalanche, which what happens on Avalanche? Time. I saw a tweet that time was bumping. Base. Like I was saying before, we're open to cutting or creating dashboards with our data, or really any data that you think will help you make money. We're redoing parts of the site to make it, one, a little less ugly, because we didn't really optimize for that. We kind of were just getting a product out there, but we're going to clean up some of the formatting to make it a little less of an eyesore. And I don't know, for the people that are kind of longer term chainEDGE bulls or have annual subscriptions, there's a lot of really crazy stuff that's coming next year. Being able to set up bots on your alerts, and then hyper custom build your own algos are coming next year too, which will be pretty cool. This guy is obsessed with BRC20s. there's one thing I've had like 50 people DM me to join, like Bitcoin New City, something, Bitcoin City. I don't know. Don't know what it is. It's like, one thing I've noticed is all these guys with all these profit. One thing you'll always notice is it's all made on ETH, because ETH is the only place where there will be enough liquidity and attention for it to happen. And I guess Arbitrum sometimes, but I mean, just clicking down this list, I don't see anything. Oh, there you go. Boom, DMT. Nothing else. What else can for the people that never make it to the bottom of our never-ending homepage, you should check out the top trade details. You can always quickly see who is doing well on the tokens. It's also just a good place to see which tokens like have worked. Because our list is so big, the tokens that have made people money here have kind of made the broader crypto space money. Like Grok was very good because the liquidity was thick. 220K. You can also filter these, or you can do it on the token page to see P&L by token. Can we scan in the future, buy and sell text? Yeah, some of that's actually already in there. You probably just don't see it because we're not displaying it perfectly. I don't know if that's a good example or not because it's on base, and I don't know if the data feeds are working for that specific thing on base, but let's check. Oh, my streaming OBS is just making the site barely run. Oh, yeah, there it is. So on this panel on the right, which we're going to redo to make it clearer, it has a honeypot checker, buy, sell, tax, verified, mint. We'll add is liquidity locked, stuff like that. Like the goal is, and then I think another thing we're gonna add is a one-click button to get you, for instance, it would be $4. Something weird's going on with this token. So you can quickly go and do some more due diligence just by clicking. It'll give you a dollar search. But yeah, I mean, the goal is to make it a one-stop place so you don't need... Like the biggest problem with the space is like there's some people that have like 8 different tools they use. Like, oh, I'm using this, I use this, I use this. It's like, okay, like that's got to be like, unless you're full-time, you know, it's a lot to manage. And so we want to kind of bring everything we can in-house to make it easy to trade and make money and do diligence and find trends and narratives all in one place. Oh, that's the other thing. Me and some of the Discord community are going to build a narrative god dashboard. So we're going to start categorizing all of our tokens into distinct categories so you can more easily see rotations into narratives kind of real time, and then you don't have to read some Twitter thread about it actually happening. But yeah, I mean, I answered your question. You have love the scans. I mean, eventually I want to do something kind of like rug AI, which isn't that hard, right? All you're doing is teaching a model to say, you know, where did the rugs happen, what made them happen, and then you just kind of score tokens based on that. But there any AI project that like actually has real AI stuff built? Like I have no idea. I wonder how our instability is done since we talked about it straight down. It sure looks that way. This one looks like it's probably something real. Huh. NEC took in the future. Maybe. If we did it, we would anyone that's ever given us a dime is getting an airdrop, because they allowed the whole thing to happen and helped us iterate on all the products. So that's a given. Other than that, I don't know. It's a lot easier to manage this as a business than launch a token and watch, like the worst thing. I'll show you why you don't want to do that. The biggest problem, especially for us, is we'd launch a token and our user, you could token gate it, I guess, but this is what typically happens, when you have a token. Like, people buy, start shilling, you get this sweet little engine going of your tokens going up, so people shill it more. They're making sweet feet, like referrals on the ref link, price going up, which is always good marketing. Just whoosh, amazing. And then token goes down, everyone leaves, and you made a decent amount of money, mostly on tax fees, not on the actual business. But they still do. I think they only do like 1 million of volume a day, which is, on certain days they have less users than we have, which is, kind of the point that I'm trying to make, is you get into a dangerous, look at the new users, straight to zero. So, because then people get emotional, like they invested in you to buy, it went to zero. Well, in their head it went to zero because they took a loss. So now they don't want to use your product, and that's not really a good relationship to have with your customers. So no alert for that is okay. Okay. But yeah, if we ever do a token, I'll probably talk about it on here and say that it's coming, but there's no reason to do it unless we're starting to get to the crazy times. But in general, it's not. There are projects that like actually have amazing things built, and they're like the tokens just don't do well because a lot of times running something like this with a token just doesn't do so hot. Well, it has worked for banana, but see, banana didn't even need, like, theirs actually worked great because their product's so good. Right, they launched a token. The token didn't do great out of the gate, and now people just use it because, like, they like the tech. It's good for sniping, so people use it all the time. 40 ETH, it's pretty good. All right, anything else, or we can wrap it up there? As always, feature requests, shoot them to us in Discord. We will build it if there's enough demand for it. I think another dashboard we'll also build is like eventually a back tester for all of your alerts once we have more variables in there, so you can see which ones are hitting, because right now you kind of have to do it manually, right? You know, like a little back testing playground to see you know, where your alerts are very good and where they're not. Oh yeah, gosh, yeah. Okie doke, we'll wrap it up there unless anyone's got anything else. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining, listening to me blab for an hour. I hope the case study at the beginning was kind of interesting, and I'm excited to share once we do some actual, you know, data explainability and we get some AI going to really start having some fun with the data. So look forward to that. We'll do another one of these sometime next week.